you guys. Today is a gorgeous day, so I thought we would take advantage of that and plant up some beautiful things on our balcony. So if you are looking for like a last minute Easter gift, or you just want to add some beautiful color to your early spring garden, in today's video we're going to be planting up a gorgeous container and lots of other beautiful things on our balcony to celebrate spring. So we hopped our tails over to some garden centers and we went to Marshall's as well and found some sweet little containers. So first things first, let me show you what I got. Okay, so we stopped by a few different garden centers and here's what we picked up. The general idea is I want to create one container that can kind of be an inspiration to you if you wanted to create a container arrangement and give it as a gift for Easter. Hopefully I'll have this edited by Easter. So we got a large square container for that. And because we're on a balcony, I try to make sure that the majority of our larger pots aren't stone so that it doesn't get too heavy. But for the smaller ones, we can get things that are a little bit nicer. These we were able to pick up from Marshall's and they were pretty affordable. I just think they're so sweet. And the cabbage leaves and in this sort of sage green color is just beautiful. So I thought this would be really, really fun. We got two of those, one small and a larger one that I'm gonna pop this lavender into. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Then I have this larger pot. And they can be used as vases, but also you can pop out the little bottom plug so they can be used as containers as well, which is really neat. So now let me tell you what we got for this spring arrangements. To start with, I don't want to touch it because it is poisonous, but we got this absolutely gorgeous delphinium. That color is just ridiculous. The name is Hunky Dory Blue Delphinium. Now, delphiniums are a member of the Ranunculaceae family, the buttercup family, and other things that are in that family are ranunculus, as you might imagine. These delphiniums are called delphiniums because it comes from the Greek word for dolphin, and that's because the blooms, especially when they're in bud form, sort of, resemble a dolphin, and the blue color as well, but they are just, it's not very often that you find that real true blue color in the garden, and delphiniums are one of those. So delphiniums and larkspurs are very similar. Larkspurs are sort of the smaller, the more diminutive delphinium, and they're annuals. Whereas delphiniums are perennials. They get very, very tall, usually have to stake them. They like full sun and well-drained soil. And the problem that we had in Vermont growing delphiniums, well, rather not growing them, because the slugs completely decimated them. I tried growing delphiniums several different times. I tried growing them from seed, and I tried buying them already grown on, and no bueno. They just were absolutely decimated by slugs. I mean, it's kind of disgusting, but we planted them and came out the next day, and there was more, you could see more slug than you could plant. And that was overnight. They had gotten rid of all the buds, all of the flowers, and they were working their way through the foliage on the second day that we had them. So if you do have slugs, it's going to be a little bit trickier, but luckily here on this balcony, we do not. Listen to the frogs. Can you hear that? They do have wildlife though, so that's fun. And as I said, they are poisonous, so they can cause skin irritation if you touch them, and if they're ingested, they can cause, they're poisonous to humans and animals, so that's something to be mindful of if you have dogs or cats that like to get in your plants, or if you have little ones. Next up, we have dahlias. So we have these here that we bought, and then we also have some dahlia tubers that we bought that were on sale. So this is the Hypnotica lavender dahlia, and dahlias are members of the Asteraceae family. Some people think they're part of the nightshade family, the potato family. In fact, when we bought these at the garden center, the man said, he was very, very sweet. He said, do you know much about dahlias? You want to give them lots of water and lots of sun because they're potatoes. But they are actually part of the Asteraceae family, which, as the name would suggest, is the aster family. It's also the daisy family, and sunflowers and zinnias are also part of the Asteraceae family. But he was right, they do like lots of water, they like full sun, which they'll get on this balcony, 6+ hours of sun. We'll make sure to keep them nice and moist, and because we can control the soil that we put in our containers on the balcony, we'll make sure that they get really rich, well-draining soil. But I just absolutely love the color of those blooms, especially next to our Delphiniums. That combination I just think is going to be absolutely stunning. I think I was getting a little too backlit. So back to the dahlias. That color is absolutely stunning. And I picked up a few more dahlias that we could start from tubers. So I love growing dahlias from the tubers. Back in Vermont, grow them every single year. I like to start them early and then put them out. But here we're just gonna put them straight into pots. Bert, my husband, is out getting some pots for us now. But we got this one, which is Crazy Love. It's sort of this soft lavender with a darker purple margin on each of the petals, and that looks really gorgeous. Each of these just came with one bulb, but a lot of the plants are actually cheaper here than they are in Vermont, which is quite nice. And then we also got this Blue Boy dahlia, which is gorgeous. We got 2 of these, and it just looks like a real beautiful purple color, which I think will be absolutely lovely. The height on the Blue Boy is 36 to 40 inches, and the height on the Crazy Love is the same, 36 to 40 inches. So these will be really nice and tall, which is good because I think our palm is kind of struggling. Am I the only one who's never really been able to have palms? They just never really grow for me. I don't know what's cooking there. Any tips would be helpful. So we got a decent size on this, and it's got lots of little buds already, which is really fun. This one is going to stay a little bit on the smaller side. This isn't one of the larger dahlias. This one is 12 to 18 inches tall and 12 to 18 inches wide. Dahlias are, they're tender perennials. In some areas, you can just kind of keep them in the ground and cover them with a thick layer of mulch and they'll come back. But in our area, we would always dig them up, store them, usually in vermiculite or newspaper, and then plant them up every single spring. But the biggest issue that we have with our dahlias was slugs again, snails, and earwigs. Those were, I think, the main kind of culprits for our dahlia crops. But we got lots of beautiful dahlias. Very gorgeous, and so I'm excited to have some on the balcony. Next up, we have a few different varieties of petunias. We are going to be adding this to the arrangement with the delphiniums and the dahlias. And aren't they precious? This petunia, Supertunia, is called Lovey-Dovey. And now petunias are part of the Solanaceae family, or the nightshade family, the potato family. So these are potatoes. That means they want lots of water and they want lots of sun. A few other members of the nightshade family are tomatoes, potatoes, like I said, peppers, eggplants, and tobacco, or nicotiana. Petunia comes from the Tupinian, the indigenous South American word for tobacco, petun. And that's where these beautiful trumpet-shaped flowers get their name. So South American, it's going to want a lot of the same growing conditions as a lot of the other plants we talked about. A lot of water, they want moist soil, but free draining, lots of heat, full sun. You get the picture. But they're really floriferous and very beautiful. So we have 2 of these lovey-doveys. I watered them, so they're getting all over my Easter dress. Then the other petunia that we have, 2 of these as well. I have grown before. I haven't grown the lovey-dovey before, but this one is the Royal Velvet, and these get quite large. These Supertunias get quite large. 4 to 12 inches tall, so not very tall, but 12 to 24 inches wide. And they're just very easy to care for. They are hungry plants, so you can do like a tomato feed, or I like to do a seaweed fertilizer, and they're just absolutely beautiful. That rich, deep color is really, it's very velvety. I just love looking at those rich, deep, can you see the kind of like velvety sheen on the flowers, on the individual trumpet-like blooms? Oh, gorgeous. I like the smell of petunias. And then last for our container, we have these dichondra. Now dichondra, these are dichondra, just a general dichondra. These are trailing plants and they're sort of semi-evergreens, but they're also called silver pony's foot or the silver nickel vine. And they are members of the Convolvulaceae family, which is also the morning glory family or the bindweed family. And they are creeping plants that have this almost metallic kind of sheen to them, especially in the sunshine. And they are just a very interesting accent plant. And I really love having them. I think there's something very romantic about them. They look very magical with this metallic shimmer in the sunlight. So we have 2 of those as well. So that makes up our container. And now I'll just talk you through a few other things that we're going to be putting in pots. Oh, one of these we're putting in a pot, but that's okay. Next, I got 2 of these lavender. Lavender did not grow for us in Vermont, so I'm so excited to be able to have 2 lavender plants here. They're just absolutely gorgeous. This is the Javelin Forte Deep Purple Lavender. It's mounding perennial, cold hardy down to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. It grows 12 to 18 inches tall and 18 to 24 inches wide. So it's just absolutely beautiful. I love the little bunny ears at the top. That's kind of why I wanted to get it for Easter, because this type is, it has especially these little bunny ears at the top that are so sweet. But lavender is a member of the Liniaceae family or the mint family. And one way that you can check that is because the members of the mint family have squared off stems. So the stems will be squared, which is kind of neat. But obviously, so fragrant. The leaves are just delicious. I used to bake sugar cookies with lavender sort of pressed into the tops, and they're just a wonderful, wonderful plant. If you've been here for a little time, then you know that I absolutely love foliage, like scented foliage. It's just so dreamy. So that I was thinking we would put into these containers. That would look pretty sweet. It can't live in there its whole life, obviously, but for now. And then we have our other one here. You know, these are Mediterranean plants. So knowing where something comes from is helpful just to understand its growing conditions. So it wants, you know, nice, well-draining soil and lots of sunlight. If you have, you know, too boggy soil, which we had lots and lots of rocks, but very, you know, wet conditions in Vermont. And so it would just kind of, you know, it wouldn't make it back year on year, which was really sad because I love lavender so much. But I think that covers it. So why don't we get set up? Bert's probably going to bring out the other pots and maybe he'll help us fill up our containers, and then we'll get to planting. Okay, so I'm putting on my apron so I don't get my dress any more dirty than it already is. And Bert has agreed to help us, so he always does, but he's gonna help us plant and fill things with soil. And I'm so excited. I can't believe that we're usually, like, April is usually our snowiest month in Vermont. So we get a lot of big dumpings of snow. So I can't believe how happy I feel that we can plant in April. We usually can't plant until the end of May, so let's get going. Okay, Bert filled it up with soil for us. So I think what I want to do, it's going to be kind of a 3-way container. The back is going to be up against the railing. So yeah, I think we want to do it like this. So we're going to have our tallest plant in the back here. Otherwise, I was thinking about doing it in the corner, but it kind of is like that. But I think we'll do it like this. Yeah. Okay, I got a consensus from my Sue gardener, Sue chef. So we'll start with this hunky-dory delphinium. My mom used to say hunky-dory all the time. Hunky-dory. So it bodes well. Yep, looking good. Pick up the root ball a little bit. Other than that, looks pretty good. Okay. And then in front of that, we're gonna put our dahlia. which I just sat on by accident. And this whole branch leaned over, so hopefully it'll be okay. So now I'm gonna place this gorgeous royal velvet petunias, the Petunias, on the outside. And I watered these right before we got started. Put that in right there. So I just added another one of those beautiful velvety petunias on the sides and then the dichondra in the front. I think that dichondra is just going to go beautifully with those little cabbage containers where I'm putting the smaller petunias and the lavender. And then I put the lovey-dovey petunia in the front so it would sort of cascade down and tie in really well with the dahlias and our other containers as well. And then Bert very kindly is helping us to fill in with this organic potting mix. Just all the little cracks and crevices, making sure that there's no air pockets and everything is tucked in nice and neat. There we have it. I think it's looking really, really beautiful, especially as the dichondra kind of comes down the sides. And then the petunias will do the same. They'll sort of cascade down. I think that's going to look gorgeous. So do you want to help me move this out of the way?
Sure.
Okay, so now we just have to take the plugs out of these vases, containers. The only bummer about these pots is that they aren't uniform around. They kind of have a lip around it for the leaves. And so you kind of have to plant it below that. It's kind of tricky. After I planted up that sweet little lovey-dovey petunia in that cabbage container, I started examining the dahlia tubers that we got, and they didn't look great, to be honest. So I took my gloves off just so I could kind of feel them and get a sense of them. We planted them up anyway. We might plant some lettuce over top of them, like on the outside, kind of a ring around them, just in case they don't come up. So we can still take advantage of these pots, these containers and the soil and everything. But we're gonna give them a try. Bert's very, very hopeful. So it's good to have an optimist around when you're gardening. All right, now we're just gonna water everything, place everything, give you a little tour. Done. So one of the cool things about having a balcony garden is that every day your garden can look different if you want it to. So you can kind of refresh it and make it over each week just by moving things around, maybe potting things up into different containers that you might have or starting new seeds. It's very, very fun. So we put these little clusters together here, which I think look really, really sweet. Our lavender here in front of our spring or Easter container, and it's just gorgeous. The dahlias, I couldn't see you as I was planting them, and they were kind of facing that way. So I might actually turn this whole container facing the other direction for a couple of days so that it starts facing outward, and then turn it back so it's facing this way. But I think that's going to just fill in beautifully, and as it fills in, we'll give it a little bit more space. But when you have things sort of separated for the eventual size of the plants, you're leaving a lot of gaps in between, which looks kind of funny. And our Gara that we had from the other video is looking really beautiful. The petunias, gorgeous, the Vista View mix here. And then our geraniums are getting a little bit of like leaf yellowing, but beyond that, I mean, they look really, really healthy and happy. Both of the Gara have started to bloom, so that's really nice. This little sweetie is so cute there. And, you know, with containers, you need to water them more often. You need to kind of be more on top of it. That's just something interesting. I think we might replace this palm if it ends up kind of continuing to kick it. We might replace it. I'd love to do like cannas or bananas, something that gets really, really big. Because imagine if we had 2 bananas on either side, just giant leafed plants. I think that, you know, in a small space is kind of tempting to do little pots, but having big containers with big plants is really the way to go and have lots more ideas. We have secretly tucked all of the dahlias in there because that gets morning light. So we have all 3 of them there. The tubers, you know, they were like discount tubers and like for good reason. So we'll sort of see how those turn out. I'll keep you updated, but I've watered everything in. Hopefully you found some inspiration from this video. Like this video if you like, subscribe if you're not already, and let me know if you are gardening on a balcony, how your garden is looking this time of year. And definitely stay tuned because I'm going to be doing all kinds of really fun garden design videos and more container videos, just showing you how to garden on a smaller scale and create a kind of a cottage garden on a smaller scale here in Florida. All right, talk to you soon. I like it.